Hey folks, this is Ben back with you in the Midwest Model Shop for another quick episode of Shop Talks. This is going to be fairly quick. I only want to talk about two things today because they kind of developed over the weekend. The first one has to do with YouTube, which is why you saw the thumbnail, and we'll do that. The second one has to do with model building and what I'm doing right now. If you hear some extra noises, I got stuff going on over here right in the other room, but I thought this was important. So YouTube, over the weekend or mid last week, made several changes. The first one for me was extremely annoying, and then the second one that I discovered was also very annoying. So extremely to very. So I'm very annoyed by both. If you know better, because you've seen my channel right now, you know how many subscribers I have. If you don't know or you're not sure, go ahead and look. Look right now. Back up. See how many subscribers this channel has. Look at any channel and see how many subscribers they have. You'll see that that number has been removed from the screen. Why do I care about that? Now I know how many I have. I go to YouTube Studio and there and whatever. Here's why I care about that. The subscriber count to me, because I watch a lot of YouTube, is a way, it's like a customer review. It validates the content creator. I watch a lot of things that have nothing to do with making models. A lot of science stuff, some political things, some geopolitical things, history, a lot of history, and even some weather stuff. If Joe Blow or an AI channel is what pops up on the screen and I see it's got 3 subscribers, or 10, I might give it a chance if I'm really interested in the subject. I've done that. I don't just arbitrarily discriminate because of a low subscriber count. But if it's a high subscriber count, and I'll throw a name out here, let's just say Joe Rogan. Some of you may have heard of Joe Rogan. His YouTube channel, last I saw before his debacle, had 20.5 million subscribers. It's one of the largest channels in the world. That's because Joe does an outstanding job of inviting people onto his show. He just talks to them. He just wants to talk to them. He's got some subjects and he lets them go, and it adds validity to what I'm about to invest my time into. Now I've lost that tool. Okay, it's gone. And when it comes to model makers, because I do watch a lot of model makers, I've noticed, so what happened here back up like 2 weeks ago, I noticed that I started to get a lot of new channels put in my suggestions that were small channels. And with the model makers, I don't mind. We all start out as small channels. You have to build something that someone is interested in. You have to provide some sort of value. They have to like you, your presentation. They have to like your content. If no one subscribes to you, and it's been, say, a year or so, because in a year I had like 200 or 300 subscribers just doing whatever models. This was before I did the big ships. That said, people like what I'm doing. They like my content. It's just not widely accepted, and that's feedback. Like, that's something you as the creator could say, well, hey, I might need to change it up a little bit. Or no, I'm going to stay the course. I like what I'm doing. I'm just going to do it my way, and who cares? But for me, the viewer, Plasmo is a great example. He has can't tell you now, but last I saw, I think he was around 750,000. He may have gotten to 800,000 subscribers. Well, his content's fantastic, and he's an outstanding model builder. That's why people subscribe. So I know when I see a Plasmo video pop up, the only thing I'm really asking myself is, am I interested in the subject matter that he picked, yay or nay? Because I know the video is going to be outstanding. I get a big kick out of his accent. Today we will be building the aeroplanes, and I will be mixing some paint, and stuff like that. It's great. That tool's gone. Really irritates me. So then the next thing that irritates me. So like a vetting thing, right? Just to summarize, like when I buy something on Amazon, if it has 4.5 stars, out of 20 reviews, I'm like, ooh, I need to really kind of look through the reviews. If it has 4.5 stars out of 15,000 reviews, it's pretty good. And I'll read the AI summary of what everyone has to say. And if I need to dive deeper, I will. If I'm really committed, what I'll do is I will go in and I will say, and this is important leading to the next thing, I'll go in and I'll look at, all right, most 4.5 stars looks great. Filter by 1-star reviews. I want to see what the complainers have to say, because they brought it from 5 stars down to 4.5. And if they say 1 star, mine showed up with a dent in it from the mailman. Okay, you don't count. And, next review, 1 star, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. Well, okay, that's not a reason to give a product 1 star. You don't count. Or 1 star, it didn't work out of the box. I had to return it 3 times, and I finally got one that worked. Odds are you'll get a lemon too. That's valuable. And by the way, that happened to me. I don't remember the product. I ordered it, and basically it's like, if you're in the United States, you have a 50-50 chance of it working out of the box or not. If you were in Europe, it worked all the time. Mine didn't work. I had to send it back. Ordered another one, didn't work, sent it back, and I gave up. All right, these are tools. YouTube's the same thing. You're investing your time. So I'm not happy about that. Now, the second thing, this goes into me looking at the reviews and what people have to say. If I open up a video that's long, and, by long I mean greater than 30 minutes. A lot of my videos I watch are either 10, 15 minutes long, or they're 3 hours long. For some reason, there's no in between. I want to know if it's an interview type of video, is this person a quack? Because one of the channels I like to watch, they bring in everybody. They bring in, it's a political channel, and they'll bring in the lunatics on one side, and they'll bring in the level-headed individuals on the other side. So it's very balanced presentation. But that doesn't mean I necessarily want to hear what the lunatic has to say. I just want to know they're a lunatic. So I'll start the video. Most lunatics start off very sensibly speaking, and you get what they're saying and everything. But it takes a while to get going, and I want to know if I'm going to invest in the time. So what do? I start scrolling through the comments. Well, YouTube has also decided to not display all the comments anymore. It says suggested comments, top comments. What makes a comment a top comment? This is, I think, arbitrarily been chosen by AI. And then it says member-only comments. Well, I'm not a member to anything, but their comments are grouped into a specific thing. It's like hard to back out of. Like, just look at your channels. Look at your favorite channels that you see. And this is what is going on today. It really irritates me. What can you do about it besides going on YouTube and complaining? I'm not an influencer of YouTube. There is something you can do about it. And I'll walk you through it on your phone or iPad. On your computer, you'll have to do a little bit better. But when you open up YouTube, okay, and when I say open it up, I mean like you back up to just like, I know you're not going to see this from here, but just like the main screen. At the bottom, it says Home, Shorts, Plus, Subscriptions, and then You. There's a little picture of me, this icon right here. If you tap on that icon, and then you hit Settings, so you tap on that icon, in the upper right is Settings. It's a little gear icon. And you scroll down to, at the very bottom, it says Help and Policies. The second item down, it says Send Feedback. That goes to YouTube. You tap on that, and a little box pops up, and you can type whatever you want. So I've gone in there and said, put the subscriber count back. Undo these comments. I want to see all the comments. You're censoring people. That's censorship. I don't know how else to phrase that. If I put a comment on a video and YouTube says, well, I don't think that's worthy of sharing with the masses, the only person who can see it is the content creator, and that's if they get to it. I'm just not going to, we'll just consolidate these things and we'll put somebody else's up. Then that's censorship. What's the point of me even commenting? I did tell them there's nothing wrong with this, and one of my feedbacks, I'm like, if you're not going to fix all this, I'm just going to go read a book. I got a good book right now that I'm reading. Why bother watching your platform at all? So that is what you can do with anything YouTube does. The other thing that I did, I'm mad about this. I don't know if it really ever was this way, but this is the way I want my YouTube to be. I want to open my phone or my app, and the videos that immediately pop up in my stream, I want them to be the newest video from every channel I've subscribed to. I've subscribed to those channels because that's what I want to watch. That's not what pops up. YouTube always wants you to watch other stuff. And I told them, I want the newest, latest videos from every channel I've subscribed to. If I scroll past all of those, then start putting stuff in there, okay? Do that, and you add, it just makes the whole experience so much better, in my opinion. So that's how you can do that. That's my YouTube rant. That's what's going on. That's why if you are an avid YouTube user or utilizer, you know, there you go. And in case I got off on a tangent there about the comments that they've edited, the reason I want to read the comments is if someone, for example, my crazy comment, if a video popped up the other day, I'm like, this guy's a little nuts. I started reading the comments, and everyone just like, this dude's a lunatic. This is why we shouldn't have this. I can't believe we're watching this guy. Who let him on? Blah, blah. Okay. I don't need to watch the rest of the video. I've got a good feeling that this guy's going to make me feel like these hundreds of other comments that said the same thing. So I just stopped that video. I'm not interested anymore. Now I know, and then I saved some time and I moved on to something else. If you edit the comments, you just put what some AI algorithm thinks should be there, I'm being misled. Now I realize YouTube might be saying, well, I want you to watch the whole video, because then they get ad revenue and it helps the content creator and things like that. I get that, but you might also be hugely wasting my time, and my time is valuable. The other thing that's happened since they've done that is my subscriber count. My new subscribers, there's a running 28-day thing in analytics for YouTube, and it talks about how many subscribers you're getting every 20 days. My numbers have plummeted. I'm not upset about that, but I know why it's plummeted. If you see a channel, a model building channel, and they have 100 subscribers, you might be like, hey, let's give this guy, let's throw him a bone. I like him. I think he's going somewhere. I'll give him a like. I'll give him a subscribe, and I'll watch some things. If you stumble onto a modeling channel that has 30,000, 50,000, 200,000 subscribers, and you like, well, I'm going to check this out, and you like it, there's a reason that they have 200,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers, 30,000 subscribers. So you might be inclined to be like, yeah, I'm getting on this bandwagon too. I like this team. Subscribe. If you don't know how many subscribers you have, what are you getting into? I personally felt very, when I saw some of these new channels, I was like, well, what am I, because so when you hit subscribe, it's a little bit of a commitment, right? Psychologically, you feel like you're committing to someone, even though ultimately all you're doing is hitting a button. That's it. There's no, when you subscribe to my channel, I don't get money. Payments from YouTube comes from you sitting down and watching the video. That is where money comes from. Subscribing doesn't do anything other than help encourage other people to watch your channel. At least I believe, and they've taken that away. So anyway, yeah, I think you should send some feedback. All right, modeling. Let's move on to the modeling thing. So I don't know if you can see, I probably don't have the camera tipped down. My desk is full. I'm in the middle of the latest episode of Enterprise. We've moved on to it. But I'm also working on a second side super duper secret project special. You will all see it one of these days when it's done. It's like I'm painting things, cutting things. I got to do paint on it, come back, paint, redo. I'm going back and forth, so I'm basically constantly working. Anyway, I ran into a problem, and I'll just tell you right now, the super secret project, it is a vehicle. And I was getting frustrated, so I'm in the painting stage of making this vehicle. And it's got a couple colors on it. It's a little complicated. And one of the colors is black. Black is the most difficult color to paint nicely on a vehicle because black shows everything. You cannot have any mistakes in the bodywork. You cannot have dust on it. Anything that's there, black paint shows. And this is true of real vehicles as well. White's very easy to paint. A lot of light colors are very easy to paint because they hide mistakes. As soon as you get darker, it's much more difficult. Well, I forgot my own personal rule because this kit that I'm building, it's not a good kit. I'm just making it work. I want it to look the part. That's more important than how well the kit goes together and it needs to represent a thing. And so I found myself during the painting process getting a little bit hung up on, oh, there's a dust spot there, or there's this little imperfection, and I'm like staring at it up close, and I'm starting to get bent out of shape a little bit about it. And then I realized, nope, I need to move on. I need to let that go and move on for the sake of getting it done for the greater whole. Now I did that earlier mentally in my head because I'm like, it just some of the assembly process. This is an old kit and it's like the molding's terrible and it's like this is never going to be right without tons and tons of effort, and ultimately it doesn't matter. I'm going for a specific look. Subconsciously, though, when I started this build, I had applied my rule number 1 to becoming a better modeler. I was doing it, and then I forgot it. I got lost in the paint job and figuring out that I had a speck of paint that I needed to touch up all the time. My rule to getting better at modeling, if you have not heard this before, and I know I've shared it, the rule is when you start a new project, you need to pick one thing about that project that you want to get correct. You want to do this one thing the best you possibly can. So for example, you're a new builder, you're brand new to building models, or you've taken a little hiatus, 30, 40, 70 years, and you're getting back into it. I recommend that the first thing you do is get good at, and tell yourself this, for this model, I'm going to figure out how to remove the parts from the sprue well and clean them up, and then when I glue the parts together, I'm going to do a good job of getting everything lined up and not have globs of glue all over the place, and I'm going to figure out the gluing method that works for me, and I'm going to figure out the glue that works for me, and I'm going to figure out my assembly process that works for me. And that's it. That's the goal. And that's, you're like, it seems a little, I'm saying if you're getting back into it, okay, you do that, you assemble the thing well, and you're like, yeah, I'm satisfied. This is a little SBD dive bomber. It's a 1/200 scale. You assemble it well, check. That now should be, in your mind, a successful model build. At this point, we're just having fun. Put the paint on. Glue the other little parts on. Try weathering. Try doing a gloss coat. Try chipping it up a little bit. Whatever it is you want to do. Try a different color. Try mixing some paint. Try your airbrush out. If it doesn't work, it's just a big mess. Who cares? It's still a successful model because you learned how to assemble it well. Now, you buy your next model and you've mastered assembling something well. So that's not going to be the goal. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't assemble it well. And you're like, I'm still going to work on that. I'm still going to get that thing better. When I was a kid, I built a, oh man, my brain's going blank. It's a late war British air-ground attack airplane, the Tempest Typhoon. It was gray and green camouflage, big bubble canopy. And this particular squadron had a blue nose cone on it. Nose spinner was all blue. This gorgeous model. I knew how to do the camouflage. I knew how to assemble it and everything, but what I was a little concerned about, a little unsure of, was can I get the nose spinner to look like this perfect gloss blue? Because I think having this like war-torn airplane, all flat, you know, I had the canopy looking nice, but this glossy, shiny blue nose cone would really make it pop, and I just wasn't sure if I could do it. I think I had like Blue Angel blue or something in it, and it was just a Model Master tester's little jar. And so the whole goal was getting that point. And so I'm assembling the model. I'm painting it. It was one of the last things I was going to do. And I just spent that entire build thinking about how am I going to get this gloss nose cone right. I was super happy with everything else. Got to the nose cone, and I worked through the process, and I got a finish on it that I was super pumped about. And when I stuck that propeller on and I sat back and I looked at my model, I was like, this is incredible. Now I know how to get that gloss finish on the nose cone the way that I want, using what I have, and I'm super satisfied. And overall, I had a great build experience. So I had forgotten what was my goal with this vehicle that I'm working on. And the goal from day one was, so I've built a ton of cars when I was a kid, and really the last one I built was a teenager. My paint jobs were, maybe I primed, probably not, definitely sand and cleaned the body, and then I sprayed on the nicest possible coat of paint that I could, and I was done. That was it. That was the finish on the body. Usually that actually turned out okay, because usually it's a gloss paint. With this project, I wanted to put the clear coats on that I see professional car makers do, that everybody does. I wanted to put the clear coats on. I wanted to sand, and yeah, I'm doing this, I say I want to sand using the high grit sandpaper. You know, I've got my little God hand sandpaper here in my tub of water. And I want to get this down, and then the thing that I've never done, because I've sanded stuff before, is use a ceramic, like a buffing compound, and buff everything out. I was told to get, I picked the ceramic compound by Hasegawa Tri-Tool. This is like the recommended thing. And buff out a finish, because I want the finish to look shiny, but not overly shiny. I want it to be in scale. So I'm using gloss paint, and I'm covering it with Tamiya lacquer semi-gloss clear, so it gets toned down a little bit. We'll sand it all out smooth, and then I'll use that compound to buff it back up so that we get what I hope is a realistic looking shine. That's the goal. That's the emphasis. That's what I want to get right on this build. Specks of paint or of the wrong color or dust in the finish was not on my list. I was getting hung up on the model because of that. And I realized it. I'm like, no. I got to move on from that. I'll touch up the little spots, do a little quick wet sanding. I'll try not to screw up my specs again. But the paint job that's on this vehicle right now, it's done. It's good. There's one little spot I'm going to touch up. We're moving on to the clear coat. That is the point. That's the point of the model. I'm going to let go of all the other imperfections. There's actually a couple of huge imperfections. Some of the interior detail, I'm like, why did it turn out? This is a terrible little paint job. And then it's like, well, you're fighting the angle of the plastic part. You're fighting the paint. You really shouldn't even be painting this. This should be all done a completely different way. And then ultimately, I'm not making the doors open and close. You're just going to peek in through the window. You might see it, probably not. I intend for this model to go to a person who's going to say, oh, great, and then they're just going to put it on a shelf and they'll admire it from time to time. So that's other stuff's not important. The only thing that's really important is the gesture to the person, because this is going to be a gift, and to me, learning this new thing. I want to use the buffing compound the first time. I'm going to let go of all those other things. And that has made the model build actually a lot more enjoyable, especially considering it's a crummy kit. And I've kind of sworn off crummy kits. I finally have a little kit stash over here, and most of the kits are pretty high end, and they fit well and they go together, and you're not fussing around and fighting things. You're going through and having a good build experience. This was not a good build experience, but I mentally accepted certain compromises and just said, whatever, we're just going to get it done and move on. So that's my pro tip if you've never heard it before. Pick a thing, an element of your next model build that you want to get right, and everything else, just get it together. Get some paint on. Hey, it's okay. I'm moving along. When you master that item, in your next build, you've mastered it. So you need to pick a new thing to master. So what ends up happening is you're going to get to a point where, like if you're building a car, You're like, oh, I already know how to scratch build or put in aftermarket ignition wires in a wiring loom and run it to the distributor. I already know how to make better belts. I already know how to get the finish right in the engine. I already know how to run brake lines. I already know how to make the interior look like cloth, leather, or vinyl. Okay, I already know how to get the finish on here right. You have some other little goal. Well, if you know how to do all those things, you're going to have like a master built quality model, right? And so that's how you move along and continue to build things and continue to grow your skills is by keeping it simple like that. Because what kills a model build? Losing interest, number one. Why did you lose interest? It's taking too long. Well, you might be a little bit slow. Why are you slow? Well, maybe that's just the speed that you work, and that's okay. But maybe you're having trouble with something, and you're having trouble with the next thing, and you're having trouble with the next thing. That kills the build and the fun and the experience. So pick one thing that you want to get right, whatever with the rest of the stuff, so that you get through the build and most importantly nail that thing that you want to get right. So that's my advice. That's it for Shop Talks for today. I wanted to share the YouTube thing because it irritated me, and I wanted to talk about this model thing because I'm like, how did I mess up my own rule? And I'm in the middle of painting. We're in the middle of painting a lot of airplanes right now and a lot of other stuff. So that's it. I hope you guys have a great week. Stay warm because we got our first cold spell. And that's it. We'll see you in the next one.